Aficionado, fashionista, foodie, sneakerhead, no matter what you're into, go all in. Because the greater the obsession, the greater the reward. Introducing the new Lexus IS, a result of Lexus's obsession, all in on the sports sedan. Learn more at lexus.com/IS.
One more item in the first hour. Our friends from Rock Auto, they rock. Got a chance to talk to the engineers behind all of this. And I wanted to know more about the company. And they said, look, we know about the part brands and the prices and the features that you want. RockAuto.com has the correct parts for both old and new cars. You can't just pour 10W30 oil into just about every engine. RockAuto.com has specific oil and transmission fluid, antifreeze, other chemicals your car must have. They have all the answers at one place. RockAuto.com.
You are listening to the Dan Patrick Show on Fox Sports Radio.
We made it to a Friday. It's hour one, Dan and the Danettes. Dan Patrick Show. It's a Meat Friday, and we say goodbye to our resident IT/chef. Alan is preparing the final supper, the final lunch, the last supper, the last lunch, something like that. But he's been with us for 14 years. And he will go out in style, at least we hope. And if you're watching on Peacock, that's Alan's back facing you. Alan, turn around. There you go. Totally flexing. Absolutely flexing. Not shy anymore. Okay, here we go. Shirt's going to come off here soon. Tyler, the creator, Tyler, the moderator with Chat Row is also in that picture. You can watch on Peacock. And you can watch all 3 hours for free. If you don't have the app, download it and join us. Say good morning to our radio affiliates around the country, numbering nearly 400. Got a play of the day, stat of the day. And McLevin has the honors of a poll question eventually coming up. We'll check in with the NFL Network insider, Ian Rappaport, with all the comings and goings, what is real and what is not, with Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Ben Roethlisberger. Got a lot of things going on in the NFL, and this is the day and age of empowerment at the quarterbacking position. We'll dive into that coming up. Really no update on Tiger other than he was transferred to another hospital. He was transferred to Cedars-Sinai, which reportedly is well-equipped to handle high-profile celebrities there, and, of course, keeping the media away, the paparazzi. And Tiger transferred to another hospital. Very few details right now. 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle @DP Show. I want to take you back to a program interview that we had on February 9th. It was with Russell Wilson right after the Super Bowl, and we were trying to get Russell on prior to the Super Bowl. He couldn't do it because of time constraints, his schedule, and he said after the Super Bowl he would join us. He went to the Super Bowl. He got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And I watched him during the Super Bowl where he's there with the commissioner and his wife, Sierra, and he looked miserable. And they showed him on the screen. He looked miserable. And I thought, I wonder why he's not happy. And then I started to think, well, he's probably watching Tom Brady at 43 go to a new team, and he helped orchestrate the offense or had input with the offense. He's playing in the Super Bowl against the future at that position, Patrick Mahomes, and he's involved in another Super Bowl. And here's Russ watching in person. It's not like, hey, season's over, I'm out of here. Or, hey, the Super Bowl's on, I might watch it, but I'm not on camera. He's watching these two quarterbacks, and he's got to be thinking, I'm kind of caught in the middle. You know, Tom is not leaving. He's winning a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is only 25, so where am I? I'm 32. I haven't been back to a title game in a long time. 2014. And I started to wonder about that, and that led me into some of the questions I thought that I would be able to ask Russell Wilson when he came on the show. Because Russ has been on many, many times, and he's really good at not saying anything. We've interviewed him back in Wisconsin when he was there his senior year. And I thought, okay, maybe I can kind of nudge him a little bit that he's going to end up being sacked more times than anybody in the history of the sport. And I thought, you know what? With Brady being able to bring in who he wants to, I wonder if Russ has any input in the front office. I thought, all right, well, let's see where he allows me to go, because that happens in an interview. Sometimes it's checkers, sometimes it's chess. Sometimes they'll allow you to play, sometimes they won't. And Russ, it felt like, was allowing me to at least open the door. And then what we got after that is what made the news. So let me start with what I said to Russ about, are you involved in personnel decisions with the Seahawks?
Not as much. I don't, I think that,
do you want to be involved, Russ?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to be involved more. But I think that dialogue should happen more often, in my opinion.
Okay. Now, I'm after hearing that, go back to the report, the article in The Athletic, where Russ, before they were going to play the Cardinals, talking to the coaching staff, wanted to have input on what was going to go on, the offensive game plan. They didn't want to listen, and he got up and walked out of the meeting slamming the door. Then I asked Russ, does he think the Seahawks have received trade calls for him?
Yeah, I definitely believe they've gotten calls for sure. I think that, I think anytime you're, a player that, tries to produce every week and has done it for, consistently, I think people are going to call for sure. And I think it's part of the process.
Yeah, but you're a franchise quarterback. You're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not available, are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm available or not. That's a Seahawks question. But I think more than anything else is, I think at the end of the day, you want to win. You play this game every day to wake up to win. You play this game, to be the best in the world. I hate sitting there watching other guys play the game.
Yeah, and that goes back to him being at the Super Bowl looking miserable, because why shouldn't I have input? We won a Super Bowl, went to another one. I'm a Hall of Famer. Why can't they let Russ cook? And I think he was looking at these other quarterbacks who have input. And he's looking at Brady and thinking he went to Tampa and was able to do what he wanted to do, bring in players that he wanted to bring in, and I can't even be involved in any decision-making with the offense here in Seattle. But when the Seahawks blew out the Broncos in 2014 in the Super Bowl, they looked like they were poised to go back to the Super Bowl a few times. All-time defense. You had a quarterback on a rookie contract, but 7 years later, they look like they're really far from going back to a Super Bowl, even though they won the division. I think they won 12 games last year. But multiple reports have emerged that Russ is upset with the team. And a story on the Athletic website added fuel to the fire yesterday. And then Russ's agent came out and said that, hey, he wants to stay in Seattle, but if Seattle wants to trade him, here's 4 teams he would like to go to. Like, to me, that's not vague. That's not a veiled, threat. He wants out. That doesn't mean he'll get out, but to me, and the analogy I'll use is, if you go home to your wife and you say, look, if you decide to leave me, these are 4 women that I'd like to date. But I want you to stay. But these are 4 women I'd like to date just in case you leave. This won't last. Now, I didn't think Russ would be there after next year. Now I'm starting to wonder if he's going to be there after this offseason. Gave you 4 teams. Gave you the Cowboys. Gave you the Bears. Gave you the Saints. Seems like he's had this thought out. Got the Raiders in there. This wasn't one of those where the agent goes, hey, does he have a list? It's too early in the process. I mean, he wants to stay in Seattle. It's one of those, well, he wants to stay in Seattle, but here's 4 teams that he'd like to go to. That sounds like you've given this some thought internally. But the Legion of Boom, that team is long gone. Seahawks still trying to redefine themselves. They haven't recovered from the interception by Malcolm Butler. Can you rebuild a relationship with a franchise quarterback? Do you continue to take calls? How about this? Do the Seahawks start making calls? Because it feels like we're open for business here. If I'm Seattle, I'm open for business. Russ is not going to cost you an awful lot as far as his salary goes, and he still plays at a very high level. But he's got 4 teams. This has been in the process. This has been a process. This has been in the works. This didn't go, hey, after the Dan Patrick interview, yeah, I kind of said some things. And then we had a source say, hey, just so you know, let me give you some background information. This relationship is not sustainable. Like that was the hammer. Then I went, okay, this is real. This has been going on for some time. And the fact that there are teams that have called, I don't know if Seattle is now calling teams back. When you name the teams, you're ready to go. That's not a hint. That's not sources close to or rumors or that's fact. Of course, when I saw the Bears, I go, well, this can't be true. The Bears are on that list.
I thought it was an Onion article.
Yeah. And he wants to go to these teams and the Bears. And I went, well, if you didn't have the Bears on there, then maybe there'd be a little more validity to it. Makes me wonder about Russ. Yes, Todd.
Now, if you're Dak Prescott or Derek Carr or one of these two, what's going through your mind while the Seahawks camp is calling out teams that you're currently the starting quarterback for?
Well, let's start out with you're not as good as him. So, if you've put yourself in a position where there's doubt about you moving on, then that's up to, that's on you. And then I wonder about the Saints because the longer this goes on, I just wonder if Drew Brees is going, we weren't that far away from beating the Buccaneers. Like, we could have been in the Super Bowl. Do you want to take another spin at it? And then if you're Sean Payton and you hear this news about Russell Wilson and he says this, the Saints, and you're probably going, oh, Drew, please retire. Seton.
Sean Payton's like, yeah, we're rebuilding next year. Man, it's going to be a tough one. But Drew, you're better sitting this one out.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew, you're hey, good luck in Hey, you know what? I bought you a tie. I bought you a tie for your TV debut on Football Night in America. The Raiders, Cowboys. I mean, this is on. This is real. This is right front and center. It feels like it's further along than Deshaun Watson being traded, which is crazy. When you think about what's happened so far this offseason, and Adam Schefter gave us a heads up. He said, get ready. There are going to be a whole lot of musical chairs with quarterbacks, and not everybody gets a chair to sit down on when the music stops. But Matthew Stafford, the Lions did the right way. Even though I didn't understand it at the time, I thought they would lose leverage. They basically said, hey, who wants Matthew Stafford? And the Rams ponied up. Carson Wentz. Who wants Carson Wentz? Well, nobody wanted Carson Wentz except for the Colts, and they got him. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play with the Texans. The Texans don't want to trade him. Deshaun Watson has a conversation with the new head coach and tells him he doesn't want to stay with the Texans, but they're not open for business yet. We didn't know Seattle was open for business or Russell Wilson wants them open for business, but it certainly feels like that. And if I'm the Seahawks, I entertain it. I entertain trade talks. He opened the door. Now, if Seattle did it, then they might look bad. Russ and his agent have opened the door. And if I know that there's 4 teams and Russ has a no trade clause, I'm calling those 4 teams. Hey, you guys tell us what you would pony up, if you would pony up for Russell Wilson. Like, you're the Raiders. Hey, we'll give you Derek Carr and Dallas Cowboys. That's interesting. If I'm Seattle, do I take Dak Prescott, who's a whole lot younger than Russ, but he's going to be more expensive. So I got a hurt quarterback who's